My name is Leroy Hibbert, and I work at LUSO Community Services, and I'm the Multicultural Outreach Coordinator at LUSO. Well, diversity means differences, and specifically in the area that I work in, as far as differences is regarding race and culture and ethnicity, and that's the kind of area that I work in, and I find that very, very interesting. Well, there's some good things that happen with diversity, and as far as culture and race is concerned, it's an opportunity for people to engage and have conversations, and also to learn from one another. Well, it varies as far as linguistics, language. It talks about race, culture, ethnicity, where people are born, and it has a number of different faces to it. And I think when we understand those faces of the people, we can have a better understanding of where people are born. Well, it's uncomfortable. And I mean, when you work in an environment where you see the same faces, you don't necessarily have to have that conversation because you're not exposed to it. But I think when people are exposed to the differences of people, and they have these conversations about it, I think it'll start to change the makeup of the organization that they're working for. Well, I think one way they can do is by educating themselves as far as before they go into an organization, understand what diversity includes, what it looks like, and then when they're in the organization, they can build on what they already know. The benefits is you have better productivity. I mean, if you're marketing or working for an organization where you have clientele from all over the world, you can meet their needs at a better capacity because you understand the people that you're actually serving. Some of the conflicts that happen with diversity is people having misunderstandings, people not knowing what it is, and that can breed a lot of different things. Don't give up. Keep serving one another. And I think knowledge is really, really important, and also engaging in really healthy conversations. That's honest, and also forthright. Well, I guess for myself, working at the organization that I work for, LUSO Community Services, and this whole area of multiculturalism and diversity in race and culture, it's really personal to myself personally because I'm a reflection of the diversity in the community. And personally speaking for myself, I've gone through things that weren't comfortable. I didn't see myself or people that did not look like me represented in different organizations. So these things kind of come up in the conversation with people that look like myself as far as we quote unquote African Canadian community or Black community. And I feel it's really important to have these larger conversations because people don't necessarily want a handout. They want to feel included. But it's very hard to get us included if you don't know where we're coming from. And so for us to reach out to organizations, but also for organizations to reach out to the community is really, really important because we're in a number of different places. People are not going anywhere. The city itself is changing. The world is changing. I heard that the United Nations, they said that Toronto is the most culturally and racially diverse city in all the world. And me being in London here, we're about 2 hours east of it, depending on how fast you want to drive. So you can't change the fact that people are different. Well, I've been working in the community for an extended period of time, and it's been great. I mean, I get to really interact with some really wonderful people. And this whole area of diversity and culture and race and ethnicity and just people being different has been a conversation for a number of different years. One thing that I've noticed is people are more aware of what diversity is, what racism is, stereotyping, those various terms. The thing that happens, though, what I'm finding in some of the schools and also in the community is, even though people know a lot, they're still habituated to their own mentality as far as behavior. So I'm thinking of sometimes racial jokes, comments making, innuendos, things that people say that they may not think is not bad, but it still affects the people the same way. So I think what we have to do is we really have to call each other on the fact that in a respectful way on what people say or do that may not be necessarily productive in moving forward with people that are different. And in that, we can really move and help the country and also the city understand different things that are taking place around the world. So it's been a joy. I had one gentleman just recently. I get emails from students and also adults. And also when we talk about diversity, we also talk about people that are biracial, that are actually living what's called between cultures. We call it juggling cultures, where people have to go to school or the community or a work environment and conduct themselves one way, but then they have to go home and act a completely different way. And that balancing act can sometimes be very, very difficult for people. And sometimes people don't understand that when they come into a work environment. So I had a person email me not too long ago, and he experienced some really disrespectful terms that was called to him. And what it is, I responded back to him. And I went to the class to do some presentations and not condemn the class, but to alert the class of the significance of the importance of the topic. And from there, the students got healed, and the conversation, they felt a little more comfortable in this particular area. So I think that's one thing that really kind of stood out to me. I also had another parent call me about a child that they were experiencing something that was not necessarily productive. So there are many things going on in the city and nationally as well. But as we have this national conversation, make it local, I think some really good things can happen.